Hello, and welcome to Bullseye Research Training. My name is Allison Perry, and I work here in our sponsored research office at USF. You are attending this training because you are someone who's going to be logging in and viewing different information in the platform, whether it's funding proposals, awards, agreements, or something else. Our objectives for today are for you to be able to navigate the new Bullseye Research platform and to just understand the new processes being held within this new system. Our agenda will start with logging in. We'll then move into a funding proposal workspace, and the workspaces are all set up the same. So we'll look at the funding proposal workspace in this presentation, and then we'll actually move into the system to show you those other workspaces as well. The last thing we'll go over is some notifications that you may receive from the system. There is some new terminology that you will see and hear related to Bullseye Research. The first major change coming to the university is that we are no longer using the research portal for our internal form. The internal forms will now be created and generated within Bullseye Research and routed for department and SRA review directly in this system. An advance account is an underwrite. Again, we currently use an underwrite at USF. It's just now known as an advance account. Smart forms are an online form that contain a series of questions that are answered. So it's basically just an online application where we're filling in information. You have the administrative contacts, which are those URAs, FBAs, and department-based research administrators. You have two levels of department review, the first level typically being a chairperson or equivalent, with the second level typically being a dean, associate dean for research, or equivalent. Now, all of these department level reviews have been set by the departments themselves. So we reached out to each department and they set their internal workflow. Now, certifying is new to us. This is basically just signing or approving the new internal form. This is not the same as certifying effort. So when a PI moves into Bullseye Research to certify, they will be signing off on all of those rules and regulations related to research. The specialists are the sponsored research administrators, also known as SRAs, located in our sponsored research office. The designated reviewer is an assistant director of sponsored research. And the final award reviewers are grant financial administrators, also known as GFAs, located in our sponsored research office. Now, this is Bullseye Research, and this is the stage site. So depending on when you're watching this training, we may have gone live, but this is the stage site, and it's always going to be available to us. So if you ever want to utilize this in the future for your own resources, I encourage you to do so. So when you reach this white screen, you'll click on Client Login. Now, once we do go live, you'll log into Bullseye Research just like any other business system here at USF. So you'll sign into your My USF page, select that business systems dropdown, and Bullseye Research will be close to the top since they are alphabetically organized. Anybody that logs into Bullseye Research will land on their general dashboard page. Now, this group of people will not have anything in their inbox just because you only have viewer access, but an inbox is to organize those projects that you are directly associated with. So if someone were to add you to something as to having read-only rights, then it would populate in this general inbox. Again, with reviews, any project that's directly routed to you for review will show up in the My Reviews tab. Now, the recently viewed tab is going to be important for this group of people because it'll organize those projects that you've interacted with most recently. There's also a pin tab. So if you're actively working on certain projects and you'd like to navigate to them easily, you can select the pin toggle and they'll populate here. Now, this is a workspace, specifically the funding proposal workspace, but all of the workspaces within Bullseye Research are organized the same. Now, you'll see that on this left-hand column, there's a lot of action items or things that can be done. And when we log in as a viewer, you'll see that you do not have nearly as many of these action items. These action items are going to depend on the role, the credentials that you have within the system, and the state of the project being worked on. So with that being said, I'm just going to point out some important information organized on this workspace. We have our funding proposal name in the middle, along with the project ID that the system generated for us. Now, any proposal submitted within the last 24 months at USF will be uploaded as is to Bullseye Research using its unique ID code. This new ID is only going to be used for future proposals generated after our go live date of May 6th. Now you know which workspace you're working in based on this blue box to the right of the ID. So right now we're working in the funding proposal workspace, but you'll see when we get into the system, we have a project budget workspace, an award workspace, and even an agreement workspace. Now in the top left-hand corner, we have something called the current state, and this just gives the research team an idea of what's currently happening to their proposal. You have the activities or action items that can be performed on the left. Again, this is going to be based by the current state of this project and the role that you have within the system. You have a workflow map, and this basically tracks the progress of this proposal, where it currently is, and where it's headed to next. And at the bottom, we have some very important information that we can find related to this project. So we have the budgets tab, which lists all of the associated budgets. If we are submitting system to system, we have an SF424 summary generated here. A history tab, which is the key piece of transparency we've really been pushing on the university. So we are very excited that this is our new system of record, and all of the information, correspondence, emails will be logged directly in here for us to find. So instead of having to look through an email, looking through Excel docs, wherever you normally have to look to contact people, all of the activities related to this proposal will be logged in this history tab. It will also log who performed that activity and give a time and date stamp. We have our reviewers tab, which lists the key personnel, reviewers, and grants administrative editors related to this funding proposal, any documents that were uploaded. The financials break down the budget by period. And then we have reviewer notes if they were left, related projects if they've been linked, and a change log, which will log major changes made to the funding proposal. So the history tab will log any activity, and the change log will log major changes. So we're going to move into the system, and I'm going to show you some of these viewer roles in real time. Now I have already been working in the system today, so I didn't get that general white page and click client login, but after you click client login, it will take you to this impersonate user screen. Now in the stage site, you have the opportunity to become other users to be able to play around with navigation and learn the system. For security purposes, when we have the live site, you will not be able to impersonate others. But as I mentioned, this stage site is not going anywhere. So you always have the opportunity to log in and impersonate others as necessary. Now, how this screen works is if you'd like to become Rachel Clark, you'll click impersonate, and it will log you in as Rachel Clark with her credential and her role. Now, this first page is organized by last user login. So you'll search by first or last name if you're not finding the user here. And if you'd like to be yourself, you're going to click on continue without impersonation. Now we're going to continue without impersonation because I have both global viewer access roles. I do have some other roles assigned to me, so we are going to see some other action items that are not applicable to you, but we'll talk about that when we get to that portion of the training. So we're going to continue without impersonation. Now, because I have the viewer role, I can see all of the proposals that were submitted here at USF. So if I click on this grants tab, this is going to show me all of the proposals, and you can see that there are 15 pages of proposals that we have created through testing and playing around in this new system. Now you can search by the ID, the name, the state that the proposal is, and whatever information you might have. So we are going to move back to my dashboard, and we're going to click on one of these funding proposals that I'd like to look at. Now, I do just want to point out one more thing. This is that pin toggle. So if you select this, those projects will then be organized in your pin tab. The other piece of information I want to point out before we get started is this help. If you click on this, it's going to give you information on how to navigate. So we're going to click on this funding proposal, and it'll take us into the funding proposal workspace. Now, this is still at the department review state, but once it's completed, we know that the award has been created. So there's a lot of information that you can find related to this proposal right in this workspace. Again, these are all of the action items that can be performed. Now, there are more action items here than you will see in your account, but some things that you can do are you can add a comment. This will log a comment for anybody on the research team to see, including the document. You can manage the tags, which adds a specific tag to the type of research being performed. You can also send an email. So if you send an email, you'd add your subject line. This is going to send it to people on the research team, or you could add anybody from USF. You could search by first or last name or their department. Now the content or body of the email will be these comments. So this is where you'd want to put the information for those recipients to see. Now to navigate to the budget, you'd select this link. So we'd click on it, and this takes us into the budget workspace. We have all of our financials organized here, so it's broken down by period. You can also view this budget as a printer version. So this will download it as a PDF for you to view all the information easily. Now to navigate back to our funding proposal, we have a direct link here, but the system also tracks your train of navigation, so you could navigate back using this link as well. So we'll move back into our funding proposal, and we'll take a look at some of these other important information at the bottom. So we have our budgets. We have an SF424 summary. Now I have not submitted those system to system forms, so that's why there's not as much information here. We have a history tab, which logs all of the history that's been completed on this proposal. So we have that Rachel created our proposal. She then created those SF424 forms. It was submitted for department review. The PI certified. There were changes made. It was submitted for department review again. And then we also added some ancillary reviews. So you can see that any of these buttons clicked on the activity items were logged here for the research team to see. Now this reviewers tab tells this research team where the current proposal is or what step it's in. So we know that right now we're waiting on John Johnson's approval. And when we get to step 2, we'll be waiting on Randy Larson's. And then any other reviewers that were added will populate here as well. If reviewers have left notes, you can also see that. Any related projects, and again, a change log for major changes. So this is a funding proposal workspace. So we're going to navigate to an award now to look at as well. So to view all of the awards, you'll go to that grants tab and select the awards dropdown. And this is all the awards that have been created. So you can see we have 6 pages of awards. So let's click on one of these. We have a test, so we can use a test. So this is an award workspace, and we can see that this award is in the active state. You can see a direct link to the funding proposal here. And you have some different information at the bottom based on this award. So you have your modifications, so any award modifications if they've been requested. You have the cumulative totals for this specific award. Funding allocations are again broken down by budget. Any deliverables, subawards, or child awards if they've been added. In this related projects tab, we'll show any agreements that have been associated with this award as well. So we'll look at an agreement in just a minute, but if any agreements have been created, they'll populate here. You have your reviewers associated with the award. So these are going to be the reviewers specific to the award workflow. And again, any ancillary reviewers that have been routed. And then just like our history tab on our funding proposal workspace, this is going to show activity or action that has been performed on the award. Now you can view this award this way. So if you click on it, it'll take you through the smart forms that have been set up, or you can view it as the printer version, which again, will download it as a PDF for you to look at. Now I did mention this, but you'll see that I have more access to this award than you will as just a viewer. So when you log in and play around, just make sure you're paying attention to these action items and what you can do within this award. So now that we've looked at a proposal and an award, we're going to navigate to an agreement. So we'll select this agreements tab. And just like the funding proposal and awards, we can see all of the agreements here. You could search by ID name, just like those other workspaces as well. So we're going to click on one of these agreements. And this is the agreement workspace. So you can see this workflow is specific to our agreement. Now I have not gone in and finished this agreement. So if we click on printer version, you can see a lot of information has been left blank, but this would be the way that you would view it when it's completed. We also have a history tab here. any ancillary reviews that have been added, the contacts related to our agreement. Now this will update as I put more information in as well. Again, I did not complete this one. And then any related projects, it will link the award where you created that agreement from. Now, if we created the agreement from the funding proposal, this would be that funding proposal ID instead of award. So now that we've gone over all of the different workspaces, I'm just going to jump back into our PowerPoint and show you the one notification that you may receive. So that send email activity, if you send an email or receive one, this is what it'll look like. So I told you guys that you could log into the system from MyUSF. Now, the other way is if you receive an email, this is going to be a direct link to the workspace from where this email was sent. So if you click on this link, it'll take you through the authentication and then it will log you directly into that funding proposal workspace. You set the subject line when we were creating the email, and then again, the comments are going to be the content of this email or the body. So it is your turn to jump in and play around. I encourage you to log into the stage site. If you'd like to impersonate another user because you only have viewer access, please feel free to do so. Just a reminder, you are in a testing environment and you cannot mess anything up. And I want to emphasize this one more time that this stage site is not going anywhere. So if you ever are just curious, if you want to test something out, please log in and utilize this stage site to your advantage in the future. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us on Teams. This is a chat with myself and a few other key team members, and the turnaround time is very quick. So if you have any questions, we're answering these very quickly. Just a reminder about the user impersonation. If you'd like to become Rebecca Sims, you'd click impersonate next to her name. To search for a user, you can search by first or last name. And to be yourself, you want to continue without impersonation. Now, if you are logged into the system and you don't have this switch user option, please send me a quick email and I will add that credential to your profile immediately. Now, what's next? So depending on when you're watching this training, this may not be applicable anymore, but we are currently in April and we are finishing these role-based trainings. So the live trainings are finished, which is why you would be watching this training. Now, May, we do go live. We're very excited for our May 6th go live date. We are offering office hours the week of and week before, twice a day. And these are direct links to the Teams meeting with myself. So this is just an open platform for you to join, ask questions, to demo, maybe run business processes by us, whatever you may need, we're here to support you. I do manage both CRA courses. So just an update on those is that CRA Basic will go live again on May 1st, and CRA Advanced will go live again on June 1st, along with just providing the university any post-go live support as needed. These are some helpful links and resources. So the iResearch website where you navigated to this training is where you can find all of these resources. We've also added a lot of how-to documents. They're short PDFs. They include screenshots on how to navigate or how to do certain things in the system. The other biggest helpful resource for navigation is going to be these short videos. These are 1 to 3 minute videos on navigation, whether it is navigating your general dashboard, creating a proposal. They're just short videos on how to help you get started in the system. Now, before I end the training, I just want to thank everybody for joining. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me. Again, my name is Allison Perry. My email is allisoncondon@usf.edu. But the quickest way to get questions answered is to, again, message us at that Teams chat. The last thing I'm going to request is that you take just a minute to fill out this short survey to make these trainings better in the future. We want to thank you again for joining us today. Your role within research at USF is essential, and we are very excited for this program to go live. As always, go Bulls, and we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.